Hey, Julia Barzyk here from Wise Investigator. I know we all understand that society underwent some pretty major shifts due to the COVID pandemic. And certainly with that experience impacting many aspects of our lives, it's natural to wonder, how did that affect the funding process? And so I'm going to make a few points about that here. Now, it's a broad topic, or what I'm going to get into are some pretty broad areas that we could talk a lot more about. But just really wanted to tell you all two ways that I saw the greatest impact to the funding process from my perspective, working as a program manager in a funding organization for many years prior to COVID, during COVID, and then for some time after. So, first of all, it has to do obviously with in-person events. Now, we all understand that travel was eliminated for some time, and then even when it came back slowly. And really a lot of things, in my opinion, are not going to maybe go fully back to in-person now that we have the platforms and people are comfortable doing hybrid type options, right? So taking a little bit further back, though, even than that, back to 10, 20 years ago, it was common for PIs to travel from anywhere in the country to Northern Virginia, where a number of the funding agencies are located, to try to have meetings with people from these funding agencies, right? The program officers, program directors, et cetera. And so they would either have some meetings set up or just show up and try to make these meetings happen. Now, not just due to COVID, but just because of the way life is now, we are much less likely to have those kinds of impromptu meetings, whether it's, walking into a neighbor's house, down the street, or finding a coworker that's actually available for you to have those kinds of impromptu meetings with, right? So those were already phasing out, and I'm sure that they are pretty much going to be phased out, if not phased out by now. But prior to COVID, it was very common at conferences to meet program officers and for program officers to meet PIs that were supported in their program at that time, as well as, of course, do outreach to meet new to them PIs and to get the word out about the opportunities at the organization and to have these in-person interactions, which are super valuable. Well, with those really being reduced and coming back to an extent, but maybe not to the full extent, you may ask, well, how do we mitigate this? Or, maybe a better word would say, how do we adapt to this new situation? So the big thing here is developing an online presence, a strong online presence. So that is my advice to compensate for what I think will be a lower number of opportunities for in-person interaction than in years past. Now, the second big impact that happened, whether it was due to COVID or happening concurrently, I think we'll all also agree that we have been experiencing information overload and a staffing shortage at many organizations. So what this means is that it's becoming more difficult to process the vast amount of information, including in the form of proposals that are coming in. And we all know that for very many, many years, there has been a reviewer crisis in terms of peer-reviewed publications. Well, this crisis was really starting to creep into the world of proposal evaluation too. And so what I think this means is that it is going to be even more important than it was before, although it was always important, for PIs to be able to give clarity to anyone who is reading their proposals because of the sheer amount of information that those government officials and the technical evaluators, other subject matter experts, and even those from outside a discipline with all the new interdisciplinary programs coming online, it's very likely that people from outside your discipline would also be reading those proposals in addition to the close subject matter experts. So having that clarity on your intended impact, and even in terms of framing the research question itself, is going to be more critical than ever. Now, the two of these things, having an increased online presence and being clear on what your research actually is, the thing is, these are synergistic. So these will work together. If you up level these both, it's going to have payoffs in both areas. So that's my advice for today. And please let me know in the comments below what questions you have about the funding process, or send me a DM. Thanks.